So basically, I bought a couple of Desert Eagles to help them out with their props. From time to time, doing film shoots, you'd have certain categories of client that you would always be a bit reticent to engage with. And two of the classes that we always had set aside were heavy metal videos and rap videos, because stuff inevitably got damaged, or there was always over the top and they try to do something cool or crazy. And we would usually just double the price flat out and just be like, okay, if it's $1,000 a day, it's $2,000 a day. And if they didn't want to do it, fine, it wasn't worth the hassle. And we got a call from a production company. They were doing a video/photo shoot with 50 Cent. We're like, okay. And we had to go find a car, and it was very specific. It had to be 82 Buick Regal, a completely ordinary, boring, horrible car. But apparently it was 50 Cent's first car, and that's what they wanted. And it had to be like a certain color, and I forget what it was. It was like, had to be this bronze or something. Believe it or not, I could probably find a Ferrari GTO before I can find that, because most of them are in the junkyard. And to find one that is in nice shape is not terribly easy, or something that's actually photographable without having to do a whole lot of post to fix the rust. And this is the East Coast again, like most of the stuff's rusted. These cars are worth $2,000, right, all day long. So we thought maybe we just buy it and paint it. So we found one in Connecticut, and this young kid had bought it, and it was his dream car, and he was fixing it up. Like, oh, that's great, okay. We called him up and like, how would you like to be in a 50 Cent video? And he's like, yeah. So he brings it down, and we get there in the morning. The studio's out on Long Island, and it's a big warehouse type of place. We come in, and you can just smell the weed. Like, oh my God. And I'm talking to the guy who hired us, who's producing all this. And apparently, they'd been shooting the day before, and they were all smoking outside. Like, we're to the point that they're like, you need to move this inside. I know you're famous people, but you got to move this stuff inside. So they rented an RV, like a big 40-footer, and they parked it inside the warehouse. And they were all in there just blazing it out. It was like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, except it was a 40-foot RV parked inside of a studio, and they open the door and just smoke and weed pours out. And this kid thinks it's the most rock and roll thing he's ever seen. And they had like a couple of scenes where it was like, they had barrels and it looked like a city street and some chain link fence, and his car was parked there. And 50 Cent's guys, and I forget their names, they had all kinds of crazy props they were playing with, and they're stacking things up and they're doing things. At this point, I don't really pay attention to really what's going on. It's boring the hell out of me. I just make sure that the car is safe. That's my job. That the car does what needs to be done, that it's safe, it doesn't get damaged, and everything's cool. They had a couple of Desert Eagle pistols they wanted as well. And a Desert Eagle, people don't know what that is. It's this 50 caliber handgun. I mean, it's a hand cannon. And I've fired one at a range that's nearly impossible to shoot. And like they wanted two so they could do the Lara Croft 2 like it would break your wrists doing this. But in New York, you can't rent guns. So the contract is you have to sell the gun to the person temporarily, then you buy it back from them as the end of the rental. The prop guys needed some help with that, so we helped out. So basically, I bought a couple of Desert Eagles to help them out with their props, and they show up with the Desert Eagle. So these guys are running around with 2 Desert Eagles, and I'm looking at them, and I'm like, because I did stunt work as well, and we did other things aside from the cars, and I'm like, I'm looking inside, and these are functional weapons. This is not a blanked off like prop weapon. These are 2 real Desert Eagles. And I went up to the producer and I'm like, this is probably not acceptable. Like, these are, oh, don't worry about it. We'll stuff something inside them to keep them from firing. I'm like, oh boy, okay. And it made me, literally, that made me more nervous. I'm going to pretty much an alien shoot with these guys running around with these things going, hey, and they're leaning out of the car. We had that car, but another part of the shoot, we'd also gotten this really cool Lincoln Continental, old one with the suicide doors, hardtop, flat black, with bullets that made the steering wheel, and bullets that made, everything was made out of bullets inside of it, the handles and everything like that. And they loved that. We shot outside with that one. 50 Cent, I don't know him from anybody else. Seemed like an interesting enough dude, but like in one moment he comes over and he's like, "Who cuts your hair?" I'm like, "Excuse me?" And at this point, seriously, I had cut my own hair because we were working 7 days a week and I didn't have a whole lot of time to go get my hair cut. So I literally had cut my own hair the week before. And I'm like, "I cut my hair." And he's like, "Cool." What? I didn't even know what that meant. Like, okay, 50 cents digs my own haircut. Like, maybe I should go into haircutting. But he was always on the peripheral. They bring him in for certain things, but really it was about his guys. Well, the scene was they were loading the back of the car with like amps and speakers and things like that. And I went to the producer. I'm like, "You got to be careful. We're going to put some blankets, some packing blankets in there so it doesn't get damaged." And I know it's a $2,000 car. If it was a penny, I still protect it like it was, a 300 SL or something. That's part of our agreement with the client. And to me, a car is a car. I protect all cars. I love all cars. These guys start taking the speakers and they're like, and I'm like, "You got to be a little calmer." And they are aware that literally the cash in their pocket could buy the car that they had right there. They just start throwing these things in, and they finally take it, and they take one of these speakers and they slam it into the fender. And and it puts a dent in the fender. And the kid is there on set, yelps audibly. And I felt horrible because I think in all the years we did it, we had 3 damaged cars. And this was one of them. And I'm like, "I'm so sorry." And I was like, "Okay, we're done." They're like, "What do you mean you're done?" I'm like, "No, we're done. You damaged the car. We're leaving." That was part of our contract, is if the thing's out of control and cars got damaged, we remove the car and you pay. And your insurance pays to fix it. And the kid's like, "Oh, no, it's okay. It's okay." I'm like, "No, it's not okay." And literally one of the boys comes over and he's like, "Oh, man, it's all right." He goes, How much we got to go with this?" I'm like, "No, we don't go with this at all. You have to draw a line." I'm like, this is not acceptable. And this is part of our contract. And we're going. He's all like, "Oh, man, come on. Do you push?" I'm like, all right, I'm not as down as I thought, right? I'm like, "Do I push? Push what?" He's all, "Oh, man, you got to push." I'm like, "Push? What am I pushing?" Like, here I am now, the dorky white guy going, I don't know what you're talking about, man." He's all, "Do you pray? Do you pray to God?" I'm like, "Okay, do I need to right now? Like, is there something going to happen that I need to start praying? Like, because I'm going to take the car out." "No, man, you got to connect it to the Lord." I'm like, "You just damaged a car. Is God going to fix this car? Like, where are we going with this?" "All right, no, we can take care of this. We can take this right now." And he had the money in his pocket. And I'm like, God and your cash isn't fixing the car. Your attitude is going to fix the car. Your attitude is what's going to get the car out of here. They had then descended on the both of us. I'm just the vendor, right? I just bring the car. So I have no hierarchy here at all. It's a weird, precarious place to be in, that I could lose a client. I could lose a lot of money defending a $2,000 Buick Regal. But to me, it's always was the principle that a car is a car and you protect all cars. And I was like, no, I guess I'm going to have to lose a client over a crappy Buick Regal. Then I always had the problem with there were now 2 weapons on set that were in my company's name. It was always made me laugh that, here they are doing shoots in the hood with 2 weapons that are probably worth more than the car individually, right? And they're like, hey, I'm running around the hood with my $3,000 guns, one in each hand, and I've got a $2,000 Buick Regal. That was always kind of like, oh, that's all right, whatever. It was shocking. Like, again, a complete disregard for people's property, for the car, for the owner of the car. And that I saw as my job. So we removed the car. We got the car out of there. And got the weapons out of there too. 2 interesting things came out of this. One was we put in an insurance claim to have the kid's car fixed. So we got that kid a complete paint job. Like, we got that car basically restored for him. So, because I was going to make it right. And I don't care who owns it, what kind of car it is. We got him a new paint job, and he was thrilled, of course. We really thought maybe the car wouldn't be used. Like, maybe they would, like, a lot of times they're a little vengeful and they'll just be like, oh, we won't even use it in the shoot, and then we're going to cut those shots. Well, they used it. And if you remember, it had to have been a specific color that we spent weeks looking for this specific color, and it had to be this car. When it came time for the photography and what we saw the end product, they had colorized it in post a completely different color.
Whether you're packing for a cannonball or just going about your day, it's important to just carry what you actually need. The Ridge has a line of wallets and bags that help you to do just that. Leave the junk at home and just make sure that you've always got exactly what you need with you. So be sure to check out ridge.com/VINwiki and use the code VINwiki at checkout for a discount to let them know how much you appreciate their support of the VINwiki channel.